So I want to first welcome Jennifer Turner Reed to our school. We're very honored to have you here, and we very much look forward to having a conversation with you. And thank you for taking the time to visit with us. I also want to welcome back Michelle Walker, whose story inspired us to understand more what it means to be a veteran, and then to come home and become homeless, and then come out of homelessness. So I know that a lot of us were thinking about you and Gilbert as we wrote our letters. And I was saying this to third graders, that what I want you to know is that Jennifer Turner Reed is here because when she read your letters, she felt how much you care, right? And when she also read that you came up with solutions so the VA can do a better job of helping homeless veterans, she knew it even more. So I also want to say congratulations to you for writing letters that moved Jennifer Turner Reed and brought her here to meet you. So congratulations. So, do you want to start, Jennifer?
I guess I can.
Okay.
First, thank you everyone for offering me to come here. I know when you sent the letter, you also addressed Mr. Charles Sethage, and he is a visiting director, and he could not make it on his agenda, but he wanted me to come and talk to you and to say thank you as well. One of the things that I do, and Mr. Sethage, and his plate is much bigger than mine, I just cover homeless programs in 3 states, Georgia, Alabama, and South Carolina. So I cover 8 homeless programs at the VA. And that's just the homeless program, but Mr. Sethage, he covers the whole medical centers. So he has many more programs to cover, so that's why he's not able to be here. But the first thing I want to ask everyone here is, are you guys sure you're 3rd graders? Yeah! Sure. Because when I read your letters, I was really moved, and I said, you know, 3rd graders can't really have this kind of insight and provide all the variety of solutions to end homelessness. And so what I wanted to do was come out and talk to you about your letters and tell you where the homeless program is at right now, because some of the things the homeless program is doing, but some of the other things that some of the things that you had mentioned in your letter, the homeless programs are not doing. And I think it'd be a good idea. And what I've done is, for all the supervisors of the 8 homeless programs, I've sent you guys information to them and asked them to look at it, because they might be able to pick up on some good ideas on how to end homelessness. One of the things all the VA is charged with is we have to end homelessness by the end of 2015. So we only have about 18 to 21 months to do that, which is not a long time. And so your ideas are very helpful. And you see this page here, I have 2 pages, and every letter that I wrote, I kind of identified what you identified as a goal for each person that wrote the letter. Identified, and I'm not going to call everybody's name out because I don't want to leave anyone out and kind of like leave you out. So just in general, I just wanted to touch on some of the things that the homeless program is doing now, and it's going to touch on some of your letters. Some of your letters talked about, a lot of your letters talked about doing outreach. We consider it outreach. But your letters talked about the mobile van, some with showers on it and just a variety of things, some with a doctor on it to take care of their care, and some with computers on it, and the vans being able to say, I'm willing to help homeless veterans, ideas such as that. Well, United Way is one of our community partners, and their pro team and other PATH, they call them PATH teams, the VA connects with them. And we send staff out to do what we call outreach. And when we find these homeless veterans, we try and provide the care. Now, one of our newest programs is called Community Referral and Resource Center. And I'm not sure if anybody knows about Fort McPherson. Has anybody ever heard of Fort McPherson? Okay. Well, you know, that was the old Army base, and they closed. But our Community Referral and Resource Center is located there. And we consider that a one-stop shop. So when United Way and some of the other community partners go out and do outreach, as well as some of the VA staff, if we find a homeless veteran, they can take them to the Community Referral and Resource Center. They can get showers, they can see a doctor, and they can be referred to a number of programs so they can be housed, okay? And I remember someone put in their letter about being able to be placed in an apartment where it's free. We actually have that program. It's called, they call it HUD-VASH, and that's the Housing of Urban Development and Veteran Supportive Housing Program. And what this program does is allow veterans to live in an apartment, even if you have no income, and most of the veterans have no income, and they provide what we call a case manager, that's maybe a social worker, to come over weekly and make sure they're staying in their apartment and keeping their apartment up. So those are two of the main things. And some of the other things you guys had talked about was having tents set up. Well, we call it a stand down, where once a year at the Atlanta VA, they have a stand down where all homeless people can come at any point in time. And when they come, it's a free day of receiving all kind of services. They get free food, free shots, flu shots, because it's usually around the fall season when flu's getting ready to come around. They can see a doctor for their feet. And these are for the veterans who just really want to just come to the VA for like one time, and for those who want to receive additional services. And we have community partners there. United Way is always there taking people in. And so that's a one day where they can come for services. So these are some of the things that you mentioned that the VA is doing. The Community Referral and Resource Center, that was not open at the time when you guys wrote your letters, but it's open now. So, you know, if you guys want to schedule a field trip, we can make that arrangement. So I know there was a couple of suggestions about a bike. I think that's a good suggestion. And the Birmingham VA, they're located downtown, and so that might be a good thing for the Birmingham VA to have stop points where veterans can ride their bike to different locations. So that's a good idea that hopefully they're going to be able to pick up on and make it happen for them. And I don't want to take up all the time, so are there any questions? Yes.
We learned about stand down in computer, and we saw a video of this man and how stand down changed his life. And I think stand down is a good thing because it gives veterans something to look up to, and a way to come back to society.
You're absolutely right. And we have so many veterans in the Atlanta area that come to stand down. I think last year we had like 300 and something veterans that came. And we're hoping, we don't know how, well, all of them receive services, even if it's to get a flu shot or just to get a meal and to socialize with the other veterans. So I'm glad you guys learned about it. Let me go.
Why do you only have 21 months to end homelessness?
Well, when the president and Secretary Sinsinki, and he's the undersecretary for the Department of Veteran Affairs, they put this goal into place about 2-3 years ago. So it was a 5-year plan. We only have 2 more years left. So
the president set a goal.
The president set a goal. Everybody knows about goals, and then we have these little steps. And actually, the Department of Veteran Affairs, Congress, has put more money into the homeless program than any program within the VA to try and end homelessness. Can you get him? Yes.
I think stand down gives homeless people another life, another chance to redo, and not give them another chance to have an apartment and start living their life once again.
And that's the overall goal of Stand Down, to give them a new start. Right.
Where exactly is the VA, and how can you tell where the veterans, like the homeless veterans, are in the, because Atlanta's a pretty big city. But how do you guys find the homeless veterans go to the table?
Well, the actual medical center is located off of Claremont Drive in downtown DeKalb County. Now, the homeless program is located in East Point. So the homeless program is not by the medical center. We're in the community. So that's where they are. And actually, the homeless program, the whole program, will be moving to Fort McPherson sometime this month. The Community Referral and Resource Center is already there, but the rest of the program will move to Fort McPherson this month. And then your question about how do we find homeless veterans? Well, and it's called outreach. We get with the Pro Team, United Way, and other community partners, sometimes at 5 in the morning, at least one time a month. We have a team of people that go out on the streets in downtown Atlanta to try and find homeless people. We have people that walk into the homeless program when they find out about it. And we have community partners from different agencies that refer veterans to us when they find out they're veterans.
Michelle, do you want to add something about how to identify, how you find homeless veterans?
Yeah, we have the pro team. I think we talked about it before when I was here. And we go out to like the shelters, bridges, anywhere, and ask people if they're veterans and ask them if they're connected to the VA Medical Center. Because if they're not connected, then we can help them get connected and get them into transitional housing until they find something permanent. So we go to the shelters, like we have different places each week, each day of the week. And we go and we ask, are there any veterans here? And they come up to the table and we fill out paperwork on them. So that's how we identify them.
What do you want to say for homeless veterans?
Well, I'm a social worker, and I've been one for a very long time, and one of the things that I like doing best is helping people. And so veterans, you know, is something that's dear to my heart. My father, he served in the military for 30 years, so I'm not directly a veteran, but I do understand the difference as a child growing up and having to move every 3 years and dealing with things like that. But my main thing is I just love helping people.
Do you want to answer that question?
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just like
Yes.
What if, like, you see somebody under a bridge, and then you ask, are they a veteran? If they say no, what do you do?
They can still receive services even though they're not a veteran. We have other programs that help people, get off the street. So it's not just veterans. We just don't, say, oh, you're not a veteran, we can't help you. So there's other programs that help people that are homeless that want to get off the street.
And are you close partners with USA?
USA, the insurance company for veterans. No, I don't think we're partners, but some of us probably have that insurance.
My dad, he moved to different houses. Like, he grew up in Buffalo, and he moved to Denver, LA, Detroit, like every 2 years, and he wasn't homeless. Is that kind of awesome, or?
Was he in the military?
I think he was in Coast Guard, like in Nia Bay, Washington.
Yeah, that is possible. Yeah.
How long does it take you to like go out and find the homeless veterans around usually around people?
Like how long in the morning? Like how you mean how many minutes it takes?
Like, yeah.
Or how many do you find in a week? Maybe,
well,
or something like that?
It depends. I mean, like in 30 days, they probably at least find at least one a day. It's normally more than that, but we have at least one because they do paperwork on them, so that's how we track everyone. So at least one.
Lucy?
My mom had to move a lot because my grandfather was a baby.
Eli, did you have a question?
How come when people. So when you guys ask people on the street, and under bridges, and they are veterans, but they don't want, if they don't want any help, what happens?
I guess if they don't want any help, I mean, we can't force them. We just offer the services for them. And then I guess we might run into them the next month if they're still out there. So we just keep trying, but some people, they're okay with being there. So it's kind of hard to, talk them into changing, but we can't make them go. So we just, try to offer some services and try to maybe give them, sometimes at Stand Down, they were giving out McDonald's cards for $5, so, I mean, we try to help them as best way we can, but we can't make them go, so.
And also, they give them cards. The staff that's there can give them business cards with information if they want treatment or if they want services, where to go. And then it's called the national hotline number that we give them information. So if they ever decide they're ready to come off the street, all they have to do is call that national hotline number, and they're given instructions on what they need to do, whether to come into the community referral or resource center, or they can send one of the staff persons out there to meet them to help them get them connected to services.
I have a question. So any suggestions for us of what we can continue to do as a community?
Well, I think for the VA part, specifically, I think you guys are a wealth of knowledge from the information that you've already shared. So if you ever do have good ideas, feel free to email them. So we can start looking at that to see how we can improve our services, because we always want to improve our goals and to make things stronger for ourselves. So that's the biggest thing I can think of right now.
Did y'all give any ideas?
I would basically say what she said, if you guys have any ideas of how you can help people, the main goal is to get people off the street, so we don't want to make them so comfortable where they want to stay out there. But if you can maybe you guys can have better ideas on how to get people to maybe get off the streets or want to come in for services or something. I don't know.
So I think we have time for 2 more questions. So let's go to people who haven't asked questions yet. Ava.
How do they call you and
Like if they don't have a phone?
Yeah.
Well, if they don't have a phone, if they go into one of our community agencies, like United Way or any of the churches, they'll allow them to use the phone. And it's a 1-800 number. And the actual call actually goes to Canandaigua, New York. And when they find out what area the person is calling from, they'll send the call to Atlanta, to the Atlanta VA. And then a person will answer the phone and help them.
Okay. Anybody else who hasn't asked a question yet? Who wants to ask one? Buzz.
What if, anything run out of space? Do you have don't they use rooms and stay there? Is there enough room for everybody? What if they run out of space in rooms?
Well, like that was mentioned, they have transitional housing where they can stay for a little while until they find something permanent. Now, the Atlanta VA program has 222 transitional beds. But when we run out of those, we look at United Way and say, we need some beds, and other community partners, and they help us with some extra beds.
So Justin and Laura, would you come up, please? You feel well? All right. So please go ahead.
You forgot my name already?
And you want to tell her what they are and how you raise the money?
These are motor cars.
Thank you so
And
much.
you want to tell her how each of you, they all raise money in different ways, but why don't you both just share how you raised your money?
I raise my money by selling cookies. I raise my money by selling cookies at my church that I go to, and I called the pastor of the church, and she let me do it. So I sell cookies at my church at the end of service.
I raise my money by doing chores and helping around.
So we have about 50 different stories of how children raise their money.
Well, I would like to thank you on behalf of United Way and the veterans. And I'm sure when we hand these out, we're going to let them know what you guys did to help out everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.